Welcome to Income Insider TV, where we bring on experts, founders, and thought leaders to break down the trends that are shaping your money and your financial future. I'm your host, Sam Laliberte, and today's guest is Tan Gera, who is the CEO and co-founder of Decentralized Masters. Now, before he moved into the DeFi education space, Tan spent years inside traditional finance as a CFA, chart holder, and investment banker. That background is actually a really big part of what makes his perspective worth paying attention to. He's not some crypto advocate who just stumbled in from tech. He really understands how the old system works, which is exactly why he started questioning it. So, through Decentralized Masters, he's now helped more than 4,000 members worldwide navigate crypto and decentralized finance with more structure, more education, and a sharper understanding of risk. So, now, quick disclaimer before we get started. As always, this is not financial, tax, or legal advice. Everyone's situation is different. If you are considering making changes with your savings, your investment portfolio, always talk to a qualified financial professional first. With that out of the way, Tan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we are really looking forward to this one. We know you came out of traditional finance and traditional investment banking. So, to kick things off, what did that world teach you about money, risk, and how the system that you still play in today really works?
Well, plain and simple, it taught me that the system is built for the people who built it, right? So uh, when you think traditional finance and investment banking, on the one side, I'm glad I did this because I understood the actual frameworks, the formulas, what is actually sound, money management, and how do you actually um, take care of your finances and actually grow them, right? One thing that was clear to me is why are we not teaching this to everyone? Everyone should learn about money, but at school they don't teach that to you. Uh, I was attracted to it, right? So I did my master's in this, and then I decided to pursue. Uh, so I did understand at first, oh, okay, this is how it works. But then I realized, oh, it's actually gate kept. They don't want other people to understand this because otherwise they would lose their edge. So I learned the good, I learned the bad, let's say.
Hmm. And some people might just hear that and think, okay, well, if that's how the system works, I'm going to keep playing with those rules and keep winning. And I bet you were set up to do so. Why do you think you decided to actually start questioning things and do something different?
Because I don't come from this world, right? I come from a, let's say, lower middle class family. My parents are
Okay.
immigrants. They came to Paris and France. And so that was my dream. It was very, very difficult to actually get accepted, like break the walls and get into the IB world and like this big dream that I had. I actually
Hmm.
went to Wall Street. So coming from the small suburbs of Paris, where very few people actually end up, you know, even having a decent job, let's say. Uh, it was great. It was my dream. But once I got there, I just didn't feel like I was home. I felt like they were gatekeeping people who actually are just like me. I'm closer to these people who are like left out than the ones who are welcomed in. Now, they did welcome me in because for them, I was an asset. They wanted to use my brain, my hands, my eyes so that I can work until 3 a.m. every night like everyone else does. But at the end, I was just a number. And I did realize that, right? I was working at a bank with over 10,000 employees. And I remember while commuting, which took me probably an hour every morning, every evening, uh, I had this conversation with one of my colleagues, and he was like, "What do you think happens if you die?" And I mean, for the bank, right? He was saying like, in your team, like, what would happen? And I was like, I mean, I guess they're just gonna put up a job post, you know? And so once you realize that, you're like, okay, I might want to do something else with my life. I don't see myself commuting this way for another 50, 60 years. I was just starting my career. I knew I was smart. I knew that there had to be another way. I just didn't know what.
Mm. I love that you said that you find yourself more allied with the underdogs,
Yeah.
and that if you had to decide between those two paths, these were more your people. So, if these are your people, but you feel like you have this extra level of intel, what do you think the average underdog misunderstands about how this system works that, we're all kind of relying on? We trust the banks, we trust them with our retirement accounts, our future. What do most people misunderstand about all this?
Uh, I think people really believe that they own their money, but they don't, right?
Okay.
Uh, and that's the biggest misconception. If your money is sitting in a bank account, if you actually walked to the bank and said to the cashier, hey, so you see those 100K, they're mine, and I want to withdraw all of it, I don't think they're going to let you. But yet it's your money, right? They're not going to
Yeah.
let you. And the reason is that money is not there. It's just a number on the screen. But the moment you deposited it, you gave it to them so that they could do whatever they want with it against like a yield. But their yield is ridiculous. On average in the US, they're giving 0.4% on savings, right? Annual. When actually they are making anywhere between 10 to 12% bare minimum on that money by relending it for credit card loans, car loans, whatever you want, small business loans, etc. And then there is the fractional reserve system that allows them to lend that money 9 times out. So when they lend it once, then they take it again, they lend it again. So all of that to say, you're getting, I mean, is it even pennies? It's not even that, right? So it's not really fair. So people don't understand that they don't have to accept that necessarily. There are ways out there now to just say no and become your own bank, I would say.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that alternative, because what I'm hearing is that the system is it's just not set up fair in terms of the gains that could be yielded and realized on your money. The bank is taking too much and giving you too little for that. So let's say someone realizes that and they agree, this isn't fair. I don't want to play with these rules. I want to become my own bank. With someone who's hearing that framing for the first time, like, what does that actually mean in practical terms? What is the alternative?
It's very, very simple. Okay. Uh, you can take what, like, let's say you have, I'm going to take practical examples for people to understand, but let's say you have
Please.
you have 100K sitting in a bank account doing nothing or earning less than inflation, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you could just take, let's even start with 10K. Okay. You take 10K, you put it up on a centralized exchange like Coinbase or whatever. You convert that into stable coins. A stable coin is just a digital form of a dollar. It's backed one to one by real US dollars, but it's in the digital form, right? It's a token. Now you take that and you don't leave it on Coinbase. Definitely not, because that's where people usually stop. You put it on what we call a DeFi exchange, a decentralized finance exchange. Coinbase is a centralized exchange. You also have decentralized exchanges. Now, these decentralized exchanges, they need people like you and me to put some capital in so that they can function because they need liquidity and they pay you back. All right. Now, there are platforms out there that are operating for over 10 years that are extremely safe and they have hundreds of billions of dollars on there. And you could earn anywhere between 5, 7, 8, 9, even 10, 12% yield annual on what is literally a dollar. So people are accepting the 0.4% at their bank when if they just only knew how to do it, they could make 10 to 12% thanks to stablecoin yields. So here's what people get scared. Right now, they're being scammed by two things. One, by news industry, and two, by the banking lobby. Because obviously the banking lobby doesn't want people to know this, which makes total sense, right? It's their business. And the second thing is the news out there, they keep repeating crypto is a scam to defend these lobbyists that are probably paying them or something. But crypto was only the first use case of blockchain technology in 2017. Since then, you have people like Larry Fink, you have people like Ray Dalio, you have people like, I mean, all the big guys who are running the biggest hedge funds in the world who are saying the entire financial industry, all financial assets will be tokenized. That is the real use of um, the technology, right? And stablecoins are not risky as long as they're backed, and you can see that they're just the evolution. So money is going digital, whether people like it or not. And either they're going to be trapped by a digital form of money that is controlled by the government, or the decentralized form, which we like best because we like our freedom and we like, taking back the yield that the bank has been stealing from us.
Mhm. I think you painted a really good picture, especially for someone who might be understanding these concepts for the first time, right? It's you have money, you need to put it somewhere if you don't need to spend it right now, and you want that money to earn something for you, right? And so the easiest option is a high interest savings account that your bank provides you, which when you look at the split, they're barely giving you anything, it sounds like, for what they're getting for your money. So the solution is a decentralized platform where you can put your money. So in what are the rules in that system? So is there one person who is getting more yield than the everyday person? Are we splitting it equally? Like tell us the alternative and how that actually works in terms of the economics and really what problem then is genuinely trying to be solved with this alternative.
Okay, I'll keep it simple.
Please.
What decentralized finance allows today is to remove the middleman.
Okay.
If you think about it, the entire financial industry has been taken over by the middlemen because you have what you call the intermediary risk, right? That middle person, that escrow or that exchange or PayPal, because there's a trust issue today. When someone is transacting with someone else and they don't know each other, they always has to be a middleman uh, to intermediate the transaction, right? The problem is in today's world, the middlemen are making more than
Mm,
anyone else involved in the transaction, which is not really fair. So decentralized finance removes that middleman, and now you don't have to trust that a middleman is acting in your interest because often they don't, right? They're acting in their own interest. DeFi, what it does, it removes the middleman and it replaces it with code that executes exactly as written, that is fully transparent, that is on a public ledger that anyone can audit. Now, in terms of mechanics or yield, I'll take another example that is very, very simple that everyone understands, okay? It's as if you were renting, no, it's as if you own a digital, okay, it's as if you own a beachfront property, all right, in Miami that you bought because you want to flip it in 3 years and you think it's a great investment and you're going to sell it. Okay. Now, with DeFi, what you can do and with your money, what you can do is the same way as that a property owner would want to have tenants in the meanwhile during those 3 years to juice up the yield, the returns, right? Well, you can do the same thing with money now. Instead of letting it sit there, you're going to be able to provide liquidity and let tenants use it for transactions. Okay, so you get fees. So that's where the yield comes from. It's you're being paid fees because they are transacting using your liquidity. That is it.
mhm,
So
mhm,
a property owner is getting paid fees because Airbnb renters are, using the property and they're paying the fees that they owe for that. It's the same thing.
mhm. It's like a secondary market happening from
Exactly.
your money. I also really appreciated your example with just removing the middleman. Like sometimes it actually can be that simple. And we've seen this in our lives happening specifically with retail. Like I remember when direct to consumer retail brands came out where they were no longer having that middleman in store and they were able to offer you better prices because they were bringing the product directly to you. So, we've seen these concepts happen in other industries where we all benefit from removing that middleman. So I love that example. You see people enter this space all the time. Like, what does the learning curve look like? You make it sound so simple, but you talked about people maybe getting stuck at leaving it in Coinbase and they first just put their money there, but then, don't ever take it off of a centralized exchange. So talk to us where people kind of get stuck and what that learning curve typically looks like.
Uh, Again, there's a trust recession out there, so they don't really know who to follow. There's not a
Fair.
single YouTube video they can watch or Twitter course, etc., that is going to give them the entire step by step. That's the first step. This is the second step, and show me where to click and what to do. So that's where people are like, okay, there is a tech barrier here that is like, I'd rather just give up on this extra 10% yield because this is a headache. Now, the thing
Yeah.
is, it's true. With any new tech, okay, initially it's going to be a little bumpy. The UX is not going to be perfect, but this is where the opportunity resides. If it were that simple, everyone would be doing it, the yields would go down because there would be more market participants, and so the yield wouldn't be as juicy. So the thing is, there's that small barrier. You just have to jump past it, and it's all over. It's that simple. Now, how do you jump past it? Well, that's the opportunity we recognized, right, as a company. And we were the first in the market, and that's why we've been able to keep our head start. And we're the largest educator in the space, in the digital asset space, because so many people actually said, I just needed education. That's all I needed. I didn't need anyone to hype me up and show me, insane returns. I just know that just by stripping out the middleman, it's pure logic. I am going to make more, but I don't know how. Okay,
Mm.
so yes, the initial small tech hurdle is where typically people get stuck. And then the step by step to learn the small mechanics. So, how we tackle it is simply that we provide a mentor, someone who actually knows that, who's done that, and who's an educator at heart. And they help people like you, like me, like anyone else. I'm not good with tech either. They help people just do that, get over that tech barrier, that hurdle, so that they can start earning yield on the money they've worked hard for.
Hmm. So you said there hasn't historically been one place where you can go and you can learn how to actually do this and participate, and you're solving for that. So would you say that Decentralized Masters is for someone who is a new investor who doesn't know how a lot of this works? Like, who are you actually targeting and who aren't you targeting for something like this?
Well, we started with the need in the market by identifying the need, that there's a lot of beginners that need the help. But I obviously was way too advanced, so I had to hire the right people so they can help them. At some point there was a disconnect
Yeah.
in my knowledge and what people actually needed to get started. But as we grew, obviously you can imagine we attracted the entire spectrum, the whole array of knowledge, know-how, etc. I can tell you there's some clients that come in today that are more DeFi savvy and experts than I am.
Mm.
So now what happens is you have the network effect, where any single person coming at any, I mean, we're big enough at this point that we're able to identify immediately what is the level of knowledge that someone has, what is the level of access that they require instantly based on that level of knowledge, and what is the level of help and hand holding they will need. There's some people that come in who are like top level experts in the space, and they say, hey, I think you guys can teach me stuff, because being part of a community of top level investors in the space,
Hmm.
it helped me see things that by myself I would never see. On the opposite side, you have some beginners who say, hey, I just need someone who's very patient, because I literally don't know how to type my name on Zoom. Okay. All right. We have people for every level. We just need to make the right proper assessment initially, because there is no one size fits all in investment, and there is no one size fits all in teaching. That's what we believe.
Mhm. And it's a membership, right? So how does the business model work? Am I paying a monthly membership to have access to this community and this education? Am I sharing some of the yield with you as I
Yes.
have gains on the investments that you help me make?
I wish that we could share. Legally, we can't do that.
Okay.
uh, but I really wish. But the whole point is decentralization gives the power back in the hand of the people. So the people have anonymous wallets; they can have as many as they want. I literally cannot track their investments. I don't know, right? But we teach them what to do, how to do it, where to click. We handhold them. I literally share my entire portfolio and what I'm doing live with our members, literally, right? So it's usually people start with a 6 month membership, because that's the time we have identified that they need. Um, to get started, get comfortable, and then become independent eventually by the end of it. But there are different membership tiers and levels of access, as I said, because we don't want to price people out necessarily, but there's some features or some people, if you want to get access to them, their time is extremely precious. Like at this point, we have 160 people on staff, our team,
Wow.
and our monthly payroll is well above $1 million each month. So, we're running a business model where it's purely tuition on the front end. People have to trust that this is what they want to do and they want to learn. And then we just try and pair them with the right membership tier for them and with the right mentor based on their level of knowledge.
Okay. And I think what we hear from a lot of people is that, yes, we're painting a picture of this amazing solution that seems so obvious. That sounds like, people who really value freedom and not being ripped off and taken advantage of like we've been for so long with traditional finance have come together and provided this solution. And it all sounds amazing. But then when we look at headlines and follow crypto a little bit closer, there's been a ton of scams. There's been a lot of bad actors in the space, which has caused people now to question, can we even trust people like you, right? And the solution that you're providing. So first question is, why should we trust you, right? And then the follow-up question is, what are the red flags that we should be looking out for as we start to empower ourselves and not get caught up in the people who are now joining this space to take advantage of people?
You might not expect what I'm going to say, but I made all the mistakes myself. So
Okay.
in my first cycle in 2017, I made 7 figures when I was maybe a 22-year-old. I really thought I was a genius, but I was not. So I gave back all my gains to the market and went back to where I started, literally. So 7 figures vanished. I still remember those days, right? And the second thing is, while I was building everything back up, that was 2 years later. I was trying to, hey, this time I will not let that happen. I got scammed out of $200,000. So that was tough. Having made those mistakes, but also having felt the shame, I didn't trust anyone, right, at that point. So when we built the company, we started in 2022. After I, developed my own strategy and it worked well, we did it in a way where we grew out of referrals initially of people who really wanted to do this. And, you trust someone that trusts someone, so you can trust that person as well. And then eventually it got way bigger, just because there was such a big need in the market. Today, I'm very proud of the reputation that we have online. Our members themselves just post about us, our diehard fans, just because we have that commitment towards them. And so at some point, it becomes so undeniable that even someone who's trying to stop you and say, hey, you're a scam, there's just no way anymore, right? We just hosted our first live event with our customers, full packed room at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami. It was 27th to 29th of March. And there was around 230 people that came, our members, right? The level of gratitude that they showed and demonstrated was, it just pushes you to, we could break any wall. There's no one that can stop us at this point. We're going to do everything possible to teach this to people, even if the institutions don't want us to. And so why should people trust us? I think going online and researching us and doing proper due diligence, you will figure out right away that, at least we're trying our very best to help people. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm. You're rooted in honesty and you're genuinely trying to improve people's lives and share knowledge that you think is like a secret that you don't want to keep as a secret anymore. Okay, well, I imagine at the beginning, though, you didn't have this amazing community and all these reviews where people could go on and be like, okay, they're obviously legit. So, how did you earn people's trust in the beginning? How did you get people to participate when you didn't have that network effect?
To be fair, I think the CFA helped a great deal. Being a CFA charter holder at such a young age, when you're starting a venture in the finance space. I mean, I don't know of any other um, person who was teaching people crypto with a CFA. I've never seen this. Usually, you see a CFA working at big investment funds, or or running the fund, or uh, being the chief investment officer, but no one saw that
Yeah.
before. So most people initially, they were like, "Oh, you're a CFA. Can I check that? Can I verify?" They went on the website, they verified. They're like, "Oh, yeah, you're legit. Okay, I'm in." That's it, because they know what it takes to get it. So they're like, "Yeah." So that was it. Initially, really, this plus the referrals, and then eventually, I mean, it's way bigger than just me. But initially,
Mhm.
that's how it
Mhm.
started. Today, I can confidently say that the analysts, the mentor that work in the team, they're way better than me in certain aspects. Each one has their own specialty, and in their specific specialty, they're better than me. And I'm glad that these amazing, talented individuals are working for our common vision. I'm glad.
Would you say you're in the community and you're learning from people too and taking advice from your own members?
On crypto, maybe not. on in, on investments, maybe not. I think we have um, an insanely talented team. All our members would tell you that as well. But in life, I mean, I'm very close to my members, especially the highest tier group with which I naturally interact more, right? Myself. We're present, right? We're not the kind of founders with Salim, my co-founder. We're not the kind of founders who are removed. We're actually very
Mhm.
present inside. Uh, Twice a week, we hold this huge market intelligence summit with all our members come in live. We like to do that. We like to be present, right? So I would say that I learned from them, but on different aspect. And you won't believe me on what, but like I asked them about marriage because I'm not married. I asked them about travel. I asked them about um, spirituality. There's so many discussions that we have that have nothing to do necessarily with investment. When it's investment, usually we're the one teaching because uh, we're pretty good at it.
Mhm. And for those who weren't joining us before this interview, before we went live, you actually said, okay, I got to wrap this up on time because I have a webinar for my community right after this, which I think just speaks to how committed you are to your members and to showing up for them and following through on those commitments. So everyone can go look into Decentralized Masters and see the different levels of membership and see if this might be the right fit for you. But to zoom out a little bit, there's a lot of uncertainty in the future for people all over the world, right? We have a lot of scary things happening politically, environmentally, economically. So, do you feel like, despite all this uncertainty, you can confidently have a view on what the next 5 to 10 years are going to look like in terms of the financial system evolving? And if so, what do you predict? And how will DeFi kind of fit into that picture then?
So it's funny you asked that because with our members, we all have a common target, which is 2030.
Mm,
Everyone that enters DM is not chasing um, small gains over the next 6 months. We're teaching them how to come on top in this 4-year window, which we believe is the inflection point. That's how we call it. Uh,
interesting.
we've seen that there are multiple technologies that are all coming to maturity and being accelerated thanks to AI. And these are patterns that we've seen in history that are playing out again, but obviously people either are too zoomed in and typically expect this thing to happen immediately. So they overestimate the impact of a technology on the short term, but underestimate the impact of a technology on the long term. Or they're too zoomed out and they think that, nothing's going to happen. It's going to take a lot of time. This is not true. We're seeing a big acceleration, and no matter the geopolitics, this doesn't really have that big of an impact. Okay. Ray Dalio teaches that, but if you look at the bigger debt cycles that last usually 100 years, you had initially the Dutch who mastered finance, then they got taken over by the Brits who mastered the Industrial Revolution, and then they got taken over by the US. okay? The Americans. The big question is who's going to be next, because it's been around 120 years now, and that pattern always plays out. So we teach them exactly how we're approaching it, how we're structuring our portfolio, because we're seeing tokenization, yes, but AI, energy, bio, and there's one that I'm missing, obviously, that are all coming together, robotics, right? And they're all coming together, and it's only going to accelerate from now. The thing is, tokenization and DeFi, it encapsulates all of them. Let me explain why. The entire financial system, so all financial assets, are going to be tokenized. So your stock market, your real estate market, your bond market, every market is going to be tokenized and is going to be tradable. So what happens is Decentralized Masters was built by knowing this would, or at least making that bet, okay? Taking the bet that money would go digital. So we're not teaching people crypto, not at all. We're teaching people how to invest their money, not only to protect themselves against this transition. We're going from an old financial system to a new financial system, but also to take advantage by being early and knowing what to do, okay? And you can invest in AI, robotics, bioenergy, and tokenization directly through tokenized assets already. Now, the last point I will say, and actually, I'm going to ask you a question. So, do you believe that AI is going to skyrocket and is going to change the world?
I feel like it already is.
Great. So, you do believe that AI agents are going to be everywhere and working, right, in the economy?
Yes.
How do you think they're going to transact?
On our behalf.
Right, but how?
On digital exchanges.
Right, because they cannot KYC in your bank and have an ID. They cannot
Right.
wait for a settlement, for 3 days for a wire transfer. I mean, this is the old legacy system. The traditional banking system is dead already. It just cannot keep up. It's not built for it. AI agents to transact every single second, millisecond, and it needs to be extremely cheap, extremely efficient, extremely fast, right?
Yeah.
Well, tell me which technology can help do that.
That's what we've been learning about today. Okay. I guess I would challenge that for 1 second because I'd be curious what you would say to this. So you said it yourself. The people who are in the traditional system are really smart, really educated. That's why you were able to have so much credibility when you entered this space of people saying, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. There's a lot of smart people who know this is coming that are in the traditional system. Couldn't they just start innovating the way that the old system has always been done to get ahead of this so that their business doesn't end? Couldn't they be thinking about how AI and agents can be working within their legacy systems?
Their business is not going to end.
Okay.
They will innovate. They already are. The thing is, you're going to see more options and a wide area of possibilities where now software people, education people like us, etc., are entering that financial realm that was completely gatekept. It's just that it's going to be redistributed amongst way more players, and you're going to have fintechs that you call. They're going to challenge the big banks, etc. So, I think your old credit union and like those legacy, street banks, they're gone. They're dead.
They're
That's
out of
game
here.
over. Yeah.
Okay.
The big ones like JP Morgan, Chase, and like all these guys, of course they're going to compete. Their business, they're too big at this point to completely fail. It's just they're going to lose some market share here. They're going to have to make the right decisions, hire new people, bring new talent. It's just a big beast that you have to handle differently. But I
Mhm.
don't think it's just
Mhm.
it's going to be a slow transition. It's going to operate in parallel until everything's going to blend. You're going to have some winners, you're going to have some losers, but that's it. The
Okay.
opportunity now to jump in when there's still a lot of meat on the bone, let's say, for people, or eventually you are going to be using DeFi without even knowing it, in an app that is very slick within 2 years from now. So you decide, do you want to use it now and potentially make more money, right? Or use it in 2 years. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And you still feel like it's early for somebody who is listening to this. They're still curious, they're still cautious. It's not too late for them.
If Bitcoin and Ethereum are your Google and Amazon, okay,
Yeah.
of the internet era. Well, Google and Amazon were at the end of the 1990s, right? 1995 and 97, something like this. Well, Bitcoin, Ethereum were in the early 2010s, let's say. Well, I believe that you would consider Facebook and Airbnb and Uber being big winners of the dot-com era still, right?
Yep.
Well, they were born in 2004, 2007, 2010. So the biggest winners of this new era are either being built now or will be built in the next 2 years. So do I believe that at the inflection point, there is more opportunity than ever? Yes.
Okay. Well, you heard it here. Thank you so much. This has genuinely been such a valuable conversation. And I think we've created enough intrigue that I hope everyone listening here at least goes to Decentralized Masters and learns a little bit more about this community and the education and how the membership works. Like you said, you can go read the reviews yourself and actually hear what their members are saying, because Tan doesn't believe it's too late, right? This inflection point is coming, and maybe these next 4 years is the time for you to be making a move. So, thank you for breaking this down. If you are interested, we'll include links at IncomeInsider.org as well as the show notes. If you are new here, we have more episodes in the pipeline. So make sure you're subscribed so that you never miss one. And if you wanted to leave us a review and rating, Tan said how important they are. Those are important for us too. It genuinely helps more people find this show. So thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.